Ho, 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 ho.
This guy. Hey everyone, Reverend Elvia here.
Reverend Peter,
Tis the season, is it not?
it is. It is the season.
So, welcome to December 2020 and Sunday Morning Grace. It's been a year, huh?
You could say that again.
It's been a year.
And maybe it's the 2020. Got it twice.
Huh? What?
2020. That doesn't happen very often.
Oh.
It hasn't happened since 1919.
Ah, okay, I get it. So, glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. Our theme for this month is being the light no matter what. And this is a big subject because we light workers, we have to be tending that lighthouse. You know, we have to be taking care of ourselves and, those as we are able to around us. And that's not an easy time when life is pretty intense and it's a bit stormy out there.
It's quite stormy out there. And one of the things we wanted to talk about is that to be that light, you really got to take care of that light in here first.
Yes. My mother was famous for saying, to the point when she had dementia, she said it so many times that it became a joke with my brother and I, is that you have to take care of yourself because if you don't, who will? We still laugh because it was very sweet and it was very genuine, and it's very true. You have to take care of yourself because you can't be there and be present for other people if you're depleted and feeling run down and not feeling restored. So Peter and I were just going to share a couple things about how we take care of our own inner light and really guarding it, protecting it, and when that light feels dim, what we do to restore it. So what are some of the things you do to tend your inner fire, honey?
Well, I think back, and as many of you know, I lost my parents at a young age, and one of the things that, when we were thinking about the subject, it really resonated a lot with that, and talking about taking care of here. One of the things that really got me through was music, and listening to music, and that would be melancholy for me. I'd be in my room and I'd have my headphones on and I'd be listening to music. But it was also healing in here, and so a lot of times at night would be that sad time, but through listening to music, the next day when I got up and I went out and was with my friends and we're at school, I could be that light because I was healing here through listening to song.
I love that. So if I'm understanding correctly, because I haven't actually heard you share that before, so that's. I mean, I knew you, of course, you love music, but that was a way that you were healing, because he lost his parents on December 1st. So that following Christmas, I'm sure it was really a tough time.
It was.
So I guess what I'm curious is when you were actually listening to the music, you were just allowing yourself to be with whatever emotions you were feeling, right? Like you weren't just trying to force your way through to happiness. You were just...
Absolutely. And whether, I think on some level it was conscious and on other levels it was unconscious of the music that I chose. And sometimes it would be very melancholy songs. And other times it would be more uplifting songs. Actually, I have a distinct memory. My sister was visiting, and that first year, and I was playing the Carpenter's Solitaire song, which is a very melancholy song. It's about being alone and feeling alone, and I played it over and over so many times that my sister got mad at me, and maybe that was a little bit of a button for her. Just the repeating pattern, but I think maybe the lyrics are melancholy. But for me, I part of the reason I was playing it over and over is because I really wanted to understand the lyrics, and feel the words, because I needed that at that time to heal. And
I love that.
And again, it was through that I could, whether it was the next day or the next week, that when I went out, and because back then we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have email or anything, so the only time you interacted with people was going out or going to school or whatever.
We did have phones.
We did have phones, but even those,
Right.
it was expensive to call people.
I'm
They
just
were
saying we're not
expensive.
dinosaurs.
No, it's true. You had to dial them like
Yeah,
this.
this is true. And I feel like that's a beautiful invitation for any of you who may be feeling stuck, like you have to push through that sadness, because I feel like what you're describing is this just really lovely process of allowing the emotions to be what they needed to be and really feeling them fully, and not sort of forcing the timeline with it.
Well, absolutely. That was what I was going to add, is that it all takes its own time. So if you are going through a tough situation or suffered a loss, just allow it to take whatever time it does. It unwinds on its own schedule. So be patient, and be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you do?
Well, we're going to get to that, but you brought up something that this is not planned, but I feel like is relevant, because this came up in a call recently, actually this morning, that where there's this sort of comparison thing I see happen with people. It's like, well, my life isn't nearly as bad as so many people's right now, so I don't have a right to feel what I'm feeling. And so there becomes this inner battle of feeling down, and then feeling it's compounded because there's guilt around feeling down, because there aren't as many reasons as this person over here or this person over here, and we have a home, we have food, and there's so many people who don't. How can I dare to be feeling blue or emotional or whatever it is right now? And I think it's so important to just honor where you're at, wherever you're at, and give yourself permission to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. And there's another thing my mother used to say, "Hey mom, didn't realize she was going to be coming up so much today."
Comparisons are odious.
She would always say comparisons are odious, and then I would ask, "Mom, what's odious mean?" She goes, "I don't know, just don't do it." But we can't compare our own journey to somebody else's, because you have the right to be feeling however it is that you're feeling right now. And so don't shortchange yourself the experience of healing wherever it is that you're at, because when we do that comparison thing, it's really kind of a side door into pushing away the healing itself.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just thinking about, like, if you bump your knee, everybody's different with that. Some people, they'll bump their knee, they'll just kind of brush it off, and other people, they'll be limping for days, and they may have physically done the same thing to the knee, but it's just the way their body reacts. And then of course you can layer on your emotional state and your mental state on top of that, and maybe you bump your knee one day and it's no big deal, and you bump your knee then another day, and tears come down because of whatever's going on in those other planes. So you can't really compare, and you should just let that go if you're feeling any kind of inclination to compare, because it's odious, as Nancy would say.
'Tis true. So things that I do to restore myself, 3 things come to mind. I love going for a walk in the woods that are, the angels so led us to this particular house, probably why we've been here for 29 years, but there's a beautiful woods right nearby and lots of trails, so I'll go out and just kind of wander around the woods and talk to the trees, and certain trees that I have a relationship with, and I love to go and talk to and hug and sit with. That's one. Bubble baths is another. Actually, I shouldn't say bubble baths. I don't actually put any bubbles in it, but I do put salts. I love my baths, and then reading. I love to sit actually in this chair with my blankie and just curl up with a cup of tea or whatever it is, and enjoy some good reading. And it could be a sort of an educational kind of thing. I've been studying a lot around astrology lately, or it could just be a lovely novel. So those are kind of my ways. But I find, and another thing to just emphasize is that the amount of time that you need to replenish, I can sometimes go a whole week where I need a lot of that, where I need to really, after having our kids here for Thanksgiving, I needed several days to just sort of climb into myself and restore my inner light. And getting a good night's sleep is big too. So doing everything I can to make sure I do that.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else? I know if he doesn't say it, I'm going to say it.
What? Not reading your mind.
Why not? Sports. My God.
Oh, for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And actually, when we were talking about this beforehand, I was thinking about how I haven't been able to play soccer this fall because of COVID, or actually I haven't been able to play soccer since March 13th or whatever that day, infamous day was. And so I really miss not only the sports, but I miss the guys that I play with. And I play with them throughout the year, indoors and outdoors. And so all that has been put on the shelf. They actually went back to outdoors this fall. And, it definitely hurt a little bit in here that I couldn't play with them. But I was able to go one day, about a month ago. We have a tradition at the end of each season. We have a cookout right after the game and hang out and have a couple of beers and eat and socialize. And so I was able to go to that game and safely social distance socialize with them. And it filled us up, and then the next week they played and I was like, gosh, I wish I could go again, but it really wasn't appropriate. And
wasn't your guidance.
It wasn't my guidance, but that recharged here and gave me hope. And I said to him, it's like, I hope we'll be back on the field in April. And
yeah, you will.
So that's the hope or the belief.
So we're sharing this because whatever it is that fills you up needs to be a priority right now. And however you do that for you, we're not talking about escapism into video games and that kind of thing. Maybe part of that is restorative. Just be mindful that whatever it is that's fueling you isn't tending towards the addictive side. I don't know why I'm going down this path. For whatever reason I am. So I think sometimes we can think that we're restoring ourselves by playing Words with Friends for an hour. But then we realize that that's not really restoring. And that's my personal experience. But I think that's true for a lot of people. Can sort of feel like you're restoring by doing these things that maybe aren't so restorative. So just know what's healthy, restorative kinds of things for you and make that a priority.
Well, because I think it can make it fester.
What can make it fester?
Though, if you're doing something that's addictive,
right.
you're not helping to heal it. So it's just you're putting your head in the sand, or whatever your distraction is. But ask your angels.
Right.
Is this healthy for me? Because
They
they can
always
help
know.
you out.
They always know. So this brings us to the second of the two things that we really wanted to point out, and this is when you're feeling replenished, reach out to people. Random acts of gratitude and kindness can go such a long way right now. Whether it's just shooting somebody an email saying, hey, I'm thinking of you, or a text, or picking up the phone, an actual phone, not one that you have to, a cell phone, just reaching out to somebody and connecting with them. If there's somebody who's on your radar screen, you're just like, I just keep thinking of this person because this happens to me a lot. And, and you've been saying this actually about one of your brothers is that, they keep kind of coming into your consciousness. If that's happening, then this is probably your angels saying they may need to hear from you right now. And then detach from any kind of expectation of what they're going to give you in return, because sometimes we reach out and whoever's on the receiving end may not be in a space where they can reciprocate or they can respond, but just knowing that you're there could be everything.
Absolutely. I was that reminds me that this friend texted me I haven't talked to in 30 years. When COVID first happened, he texted me and we exchanged a couple of texts. And on Thanksgiving Day, in the morning, I was thinking, you know what, I should keep the dialogue going. And basically we exchanged that we wanted to visit like once this whole thing is over. But on Thanksgiving morning, I was thinking, I should really text him. And I was just thinking of it after whatever it was, right after we had our dinner or whatever, a text came in from him. And I texted him right back and I said, I was thinking of you today, and, just sharing that brightness, that old connection is valuable, I think.
Absolutely. And so we're talking about more the little things of reaching out, but, be present. And I know some of you aren't on Facebook, but if you are, it can be, depending upon your news feed, it can be a challenging place to be, or it can be a very uplifting place to be. I actually have an easy time with Facebook. My news feed tends to be very loving and kind, and that's just because I think that's where I put my energy. But, be that voice of love and light as you're interacting with people. Because if we're not going out, this is where you're going to be seen, is through social media, with the larger community and the larger world. So allow yourself to be seen, allow that light, again, as you are replenished, as you are restored, be there for other people, because the world needs you. And that's the bottom line. This isn't about reaching out. You made the point actually before we started filming, is that, when you try to reach out when you're depleted, that was a cue.
When you try to reach out, if you're depleted, your communication is going to potentially carry that,
right?
And in some fashion. So it may come off as needy, it may come off as stressed, whatever's behind that. So it's important to recharge here before you take that action, unless you need help.
Right.
And then it's very important to reach out.
Yeah, and actually we really wanted to emphasize this for all of you, is that this is a difficult time, and there's no reason to feel that you don't have support, because the people here, the ministers here at Divine Order of the Sacred Rose, folks in Angels Teach Land, we're here. And we have a community of people who are here to support and to just listen, because sometimes that's all that's needed. So please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know if you need anything. Peter's boss's boss had a meeting yesterday and said something that was really touching, and also like a kind of a wow thing.
Yeah, so we have this Microsoft Teams, which is, I didn't know you could have pages, but I guess he has a page, and he shared it during this conference call, Zoom call. And he had put a bunch of information about suicide hotline and other organizations that can help people, and also made the statement that I've turned the do not disturb off my cell phone. If you want to call me at 3 a.m. because you need to call me, call me. I've told my wife I'm going to take any call that I get. She wasn't happy about it, but he really wanted to, that was him sharing the light in his self to all our group. We have, there are 15 people on the call, but there's 29 people in our department. And he just wanted everybody to know that, if you need help, he's available.
Yeah, I thought that was really amazing that, and such a beautiful sign that in corporate America that's happening. You know, that to me is a sign that the world is changing and shifting. So if you need anything, you can always reach me at elvia@angelsteach.com. You can reach Peter at loveyourhumandesign.com. And you can comment on this video. We certainly monitor that and check pretty much every day on social media. So, and we check our emails every day. So, yes, we're here. So anything else to share before we do our card pick?
I think we're ready for the card.
Did you pick a tenant?
I did. It's waiting. It's waiting its turn patiently.
So what is this? Did you bring the box over? I don't know if you did. I don't know.
I did not bring the box over.
I'm trying to remember the name.
It's
of
right
this
there.
deck.
Soulful Woman.
Soulful Woman Oracle. Yes. All right. So our card for this month is. Tell me, you can't make this shit up. Shining Bright. That's crazy.
Shine bright like
This
a diamond.
actually looks like one of our ministers, Michelle. How old is he?
Yeah.
Right?
See that?
Yeah. So shining bright, and I mean, this is an obvious message in a lot of ways. Nothing I need to explain except that I'm really drawn to two things. The feathers. The feathers are about levity. Certainly represent angels, but they also, in this case, to me, represent sort of going with the flow, allowing the levity as you can, just allowing spirit to hold you, to uplift you, to hold you. And then the other thing is that these look a little bit like Christmas trees, don't they?
Yeah, actually, that's true.
See, those look like Christmas trees. So 'tis the season.
And if you can share the image one more time. The other thing is, look at her. She's like polished. She's well groomed. And to me, that's reinforcing that message. She's taking care of herself.
Right.
And by taking care of herself, now she can be out there as this, I would call a goddess angel, shining bright.
Amen to that. We gonna do it, hon? No.
I'm gonna hit you in the head.
No, we have to
Two.
do 3.
No, it's 2. You'll have to go back and watch it. It's 2.
That's from Community. Should be a blooper. I hope he made you laugh. All right. So
Tenant.
our tenant for today is
Just like the card.
I express myself creatively.
Express myself creatively.
Yes, which, thank you. By the way, so haven't put it on the Angels Teach blog yet, but I will be. There is a solstice altar art project that our guest teacher, Javi Mendel, who did a painting thing with us this summer, amazing experience. But she's doing this on Sunday, December 20th at noon Eastern, and it's free, no charge. What we're asking is that people, as they are able, donate to a local food bank or food organization or feedamerica.org. But it's going to be a lovely, probably 2 to 3 hours, 2.5 hours is what I'm telling people. Art experience where you're going to create something to help you with setting intentions for 2021, because on the winter solstice, on that day, the days start growing longer, finally. So it's a beautiful time to be setting intentions, and Javi Mandel is going to be helping us with that. So check out the angelsteach.com blog for more information on that, and would love to have you join, should you feel inspired. And that is inspired by Express Myself Creatively. Am I right, Peter?
Awesome.
I haven't done my lowest voice on video before. Peter! It's Peter!
Peter Griffin.
Peter! All right. All right. We ready?
We're ready. I open my heart with deep gratitude and intend today to master my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical energies. I am dedicated to my spiritual practice. I surrender to my soul's purpose through sacred prayer. I own my guidance.
I live in partnership with my angels.
I serve with a loving heart. I am compassionate in every moment. I trust it's all good. I allow immediate forgiveness. I honor my truth. I listen to the spiritual messages within my physical body. I express myself creatively. I am one with Mother Earth, and so it is.
So thank you all for joining us here today. Always pleasure sharing space with you, even though, of course, we know it's virtual. We feel the love of this community, and we love all you guys so much.
Sending you a lot of heart love, blessings.
Be well.
Be well.
Be the light.